and welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show, well, we've got something new for you, a car that has joined the collection, and that is this. It's the F201 by Tamiya, released way back in 2002. Now, obviously, I bought this used, not new in box, didn't come with the box. But I've wanted this one for a while, and I've been hunting one down, and there's a bit of a story behind this as well. Yeah, it kind of goes like this. So I've wanted one of these for a long time. Now, the reason I wanted one of these, there's two reasons. One, I'm a Formula One fan and I love Formula One cars. I've got a few up here. These are very different to this kind of car, and I'll explain why. And the other reason, which kind of led me to this car, was the release of the TC01 by Tamiya a few months ago. And I adore this chassis, it is brilliant. But this is not a Formula One chassis. Well, it kind of is, kind of isn't. It's really a touring car is the way that they're selling it. Now, obviously it comes out in its first iteration as a Formula E car. But once you strip away the body, what you're actually looking at is very much like a Formula One car. Onboard shocks, the arms, it's very much Formula One like. And then if you go all the way back from 2020 all the way back to 2001, 2002, you have this. Now, believe it or not, these two cars are very similar. If we strip away the body, what you're actually looking at is a four-wheel drive, two ball diffs, which very much resembles the new TC01. So it really drew my attention, and what I love about this chassis and why I've wanted one for so long is it feels and looks just like a Formula One car. It's very close to what you would expect a Formula One car to look like once you take the body off. Now, this is four-wheel drive. Obviously, Formula One cars are not four-wheel drive, but this was actually raced back in the day. So to give it some proper handling, Tamiya made it four-wheel drive, which is quite impressive, being how small this monocoque chassis is. Now, you could take out the front diff and have it just rear-wheel drive, but I think it'd be such a nightmare to drive that having it as a four-wheel drive car meant you could actually enjoy it and drive it around the track and race it. So from what I hear, these are really good, well-handling, sorted chassis, and there's quite a few upgrades you can do to it. Now, this one I only picked up this week, and the story unfolds as like this. Now, I've wanted one of these for about 6 months, but I keep an eye on the eBay and things like that, and people are asking big money for these cars, way out of the budget for me just to get one to add to my collection. Now, to get one new in box to actually build it, I almost got a new in box one to build on the show, but the price was £300, which is still good value for a new in box one, but it was pushing well past my budget for the show currently. Well, a few days ago, another one came up, which was the Ferrari, which is this one, and it was pitched at £250, but it was built. It had been driven, but it was in pretty decent condition, and it said offers. So I offered £200 for it, and the owner came back and said £220. So I replied to him saying, well, you've driven it. It needed a new front wing, front decals. The chassis had damage across the bottom, so a new chassis is about £65, and you can get them. Parts aren't too bad for this. So I said to him, well, if you add those parts on, your price is too high. So I made an offer of £205, and he accepted. So I got that one for £205. So I posted a few photographs of it on my RC Kicks Facebook page. So then someone came back, and his name was Paul Penny. Hi, Paul. Big shout out to you. Paul said, I've got one. I want to sell it. So I said to him, well, I've already bought one off eBay. How much do you want for it? So he said, well, I'm not looking to make a fortune out of it. Really, I just want to get back what I paid for it. So there it was. I knew I shouldn't ask the question. I asked him how much he wants to sell it for. So reasonably, he said he wanted like £185, and I just paid £220 for one. And then he sent me some photographs of this car, and it's never been driven. It is all new, in great condition. The body's painted up well, and it came with spares. It came with a rear wing and a front wing that had never been driven either. So I had a dilemma. I've just paid 220 quid for a driven one, and I'm now being offered a mint one. You can see where this is going. So I sent an email to the eBay guy who I purchased the F201 from that's been driven, saying, would you mind if I cancelled my order? He never replied to me, and he's posted it out. But I can kind of understand that a little bit, as in I bought it fair and square at what I would say was a reasonable price for a car of that quality. So I've ended up with two of them. That's right, I now own two F201s, and I kind of hope the other one would have arrived by now, but I think the seller just said that he posted it just so that he responded to my email saying yes, you can cancel it or anything. So he's posted it out and it's mine. That's fair enough, that's okay. I can always sell it on when it arrives. But I was kind of hoping that it would arrive in time for me to make this video so I could show you too, just to show you how much of an idiot I am. Anyway, so I couldn't turn down Paul's very generous offer to have this one, so I paid for it and he posted it out super quick, and here it is, and it arrived first. So I thought, hey, I'll show it to you so you can have a good look at it. The one good thing about having two of them is the other one's been driven, so I will drive it and I will film some footage with it, and I'll do a second video, as this one won't be driven purely because it's never been driven and I would be crazy to do that. If there's any parts on that car that have been replaced or upgraded, I will swap them over onto this one and things like that. But the good news is I can use the wing, the front wing and the rear wing that came with this car to put onto that car, so I can then sell that one on and hopefully make a little bit of money on it to help pay for this one, because it all got a little bit expensive. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history about this car, and then we'll do some close-up shots of it. So this is an F201 released by Tamiya on the 13th of March 2002. Now this is based on the Formula 1 car, which is the F2001, driven by Michael Schumacher in the 2001 season. Michael Schumacher did 9 wins in this car, and he took his 4th World Championship with it, and it also went on and won the Constructors' Championship at 123 points, which does seem like not many compared to modern Formula 1, but that's what, 123 points. So it was a very respectable car, and it won both Constructors and Championships for Michael. What else can I tell you about it? Now this is kit 58288. Released in 2002, like I said. Now there's been 4 versions of this chassis released by Tamiya. So the Ferrari is the first one, and that was 58288. Now the second kit that was released is 58294, still an F201, and that was a chassis kit with original body. So I guess it didn't really come with all the Ferrari livery, it was just a basic kit. I think that was because these kits were actually raced, people were buying them so that they could actually take them racing instead of really collecting them as models or things like that. Then we skip forward another year. On the 26th of February 2003, we saw the Williams BMW F1 FW24 version released with all the livery and everything of that time. Then we skip forward again a little bit to the 25th of September 2003, where they actually released a tuned chassis kit. So I guess that's a real response to people actually racing these, as it had a few upgrades and things like that. It had alloy dampers, alloy body mount, side motor mounts, and a few other bits and pieces that were upgraded straight out of the box, but no livery or anything like that. It's just a standard body, so you could kind of paint it up as you wanted it. That was it for that whole F201. It only ran from March 2002 until September 2003, and then they were discontinued a little bit later, so it didn't run for very long. And obviously there's been lots of different versions of Formula 1 cars since then, but these have never been re-released. That's it. So that makes them a little bit more desirable, but they're just stunning. I mean, absolutely gorgeous looking car. It really, once you take the body off, I personally prefer it with the body off to having the body on, mainly because the body that was supplied by Tamiya isn't that realistic for the car, the F2001 car. There's a few things that are kind of wrong with it. Tamiya didn't do the front barge boards, where the real car had barge boards here, which I'm guessing you could probably make yourself. But the main one where I don't understand why they didn't do any of these, is if you actually look, I'll put up an image here of the actual car. If you look on the back here, it's very flat. This is nothing like how the Formula 1 car was. It tapered in really at the back, and then you had a flat chassis sticking out. And this has none of that. It has these little winglets were actually on stalks. So they kind of just ignored that whole back design, and it's quite distinctive. So it doesn't really look, these sections don't really look like the original car. On later versions of Formula 1 cars by Tamiya, they actually did this. So I'm not quite sure why they didn't at the time. I don't know whether they thought, oh, it's just going to become an actual racing car people are going to take to the track, so people don't really necessarily want them to be perfectly like replicas. But for me, that's exactly what I'd like to see. So it's a bit of a shame. So the body kind of lets it down a little bit, but once you take the body off, personally, I think the car looks the best like this. The tyres, the front wing, the rear wing. The front wing actually has the holes for the canards in it. It's all really done well. It's really pretty. And the chassis itself is stunning. How they cram so much into such a small space. I really love it. And I love the onboard suspension. It all works beautifully. So I'm a big fan. So there you go. What else can I tell you about this car? The actual real Formula 1 car was really, really good. It was so good, it actually went on to drive the following year, and it won its last race, which was in Australia in 2002, before it was surpassed by the F2002 chassis, which was for that year. So there you go, just a quick one. It comes with a sports tuned motor. This one has got a, what servo is it? It's got a very old ACOMS AS12 servo in it, but it has no electronic speed control or anything like that, but in very good condition as you would expect. So as soon as the next one arrives, I'll do a running video of it, just because I really want to have a go of it before I set it on, and being that it's been driven. I will upgrade this. There's quite a few little upgrades you can do for it, which I'd like to do, changing out the shocks, and then there's some of the drive line can be upgraded and things like that, which would be really nice because I'm a big fan of it. Even though I won't drive this one, it'd be nice to have the metal shocks and stuff like that. Right, there you go. Just a quick one to show you a car that is joining my collection more than I bought it to actually have it on the show. It's one I really wanted for a while. So what do you think? Comment below. Do you think it's nice? Do you think it's something that you'd be interested in? Have you had one? Did you race one back in the day? If so, comment below. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh! Happy as Larry.